Okay, well, let's call this order and get busy.
All right. Share screen. Everybody see that?
Yes.
All right, so we only have one agenda for review today, and that is July 14th at 1 o'clock. This is GPC, and the only item that or two items that we have thus far are the approval of the minutes from the May 26th GPC meeting, and also the home and ARPA, the home ARPA and CDBG item for approval. Or I am expecting others.
Yeah, Mr. Commissioner Ward, excuse me, there will be at least two other items coming from general government, and they're in the agenda queue now for review, and they will be only an ARPA update and a presentation by Gainesville For All.
Okay.
So relative to the item regarding the ARPA home and CDBG, CV3, item 211387 on the agenda, Commissioner, the commission has been brought into the loop on the fact that we got $1.9 million from home ARPA. Excuse me, guys, my 333 alarm is going off. And for those of you who know me, you know what it means. So I need to step away for a second, take care of it. I'll be right back. Okay, quickly, Commissioner, what happened here is the department took a little time between now and actually November and December to pull this item together, but it is ARPA money specifically provided to the city through HUD. It is for vulnerable communities. You all have been told that before. They had to pull together a process to bring in a consultant who they have brought in, Florida Housing Coalition. Florida Housing Coalition is working with them to do all of the prerequisite community, workshops, et cetera. That's in play. When all is said and done, they will use these monies to supplement the monies that the commission has already set aside for affordable housing. It's just a bit more flexible in terms of the categories, not flexible, but specific in terms of vulnerable communities, the homeless communities, domestic violence victims, et cetera, et cetera. In addition to the home ARPA, though, we have CDBG coronavirus funding in the first tranche and the third tranche. And so this item, it says home ARPA and CDBG CV3. It's actually CDBG CV1 and CV3 because it includes two different tranches on me. So that may be our error, but it's CDBG CV1 and CV3. Commissioner, if we combine the 1.969 million from the home ARPA and the CDBG coronavirus tranches 1 and 3, we actually have a total of $3.241 million that can be used for housing that we have not programmed yet. And I think that's good. So in addition to the 8 million ARPA that's been earmarked already, this is an additional 3.241 that will need to be spent, that will need to be programmed. And so we would be coming back to the commission, obviously, with the specifics around how these dollars are recommended for expenditure. We're not there yet, but it is money that has yet to be programmed.
And this 3.2 is external to what we had been working with from the original 8.
Yes, sir. This is
so a total of almost $12 million.
That is correct.
Okay, excellent. Very, very good news.
So that's it. And the only thing that I can see is the item, the way it's listed. It says CDBG CV3. It's actually CDBG CV1 and CV3. Because if you look at the fiscal note, it'll note that there's 270,000 from CV1 and from CV3. I'm trying to see, 1,001,999. So I don't know if we need to make that correction, but that's that item.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner, did you want me to move forward? Omi, did you want me to move forward with the other two items? That would be the ARPA update and the Gainesville for All. Should I do those two?
Please do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cynthia, if you'll fill in the blank for me here, please.
So
Yeah.
Gainesville For All has provided an updated presentation with their funding request totaling $500,000. And Omi, I don't believe, oh yes, I can just pull that up.
Commissioner, if you recall, they made a presentation about a month ago.
Right.
Out of GPC, and their request was for 500,000.
Mhm.
And there were some concerns from the commission as to who else they had made requests from, what were the other funding sources that they had, et cetera.
Right.
Okay.
That's a lovely image, but I don't think it's the one we're looking
Oh,
for.
it
There we go.
switched over.
Quite nice.
So this is the presentation that they have. They're asking for $500,000, $125,000 for building renovations, another $125,000 for playground equipment. They're asking for $100,000 upfront to hire essential staff, $80,000 for classroom furniture, $60,000 for early childhood teaching essentials, and $10,000 for internet network installations. So we did take a look at their budget. They do have some one-time funding that they received totaling $210,000. It looks like they have a shortfall of about $712,000. And their expenses are pretty detailed. We have personnel breakdown, contracted work breakdown for janitorial or other professional services, communications needs for internet security, insurance funding that they are asking for, supplies, normal daycare related things like art supplies, diapers, meal plates and cups and things like that. Other supplies such as books, curriculum support materials, and accreditation materials such as application fees. So their total program budget for the first year is $1.7 million. And this section right here really is where their request for the city for one-time funding is coming in at, and it's the same categories that I mentioned a couple of minutes ago that are detailed in this slide.
Okay, Cynthia, is that your presentation?
That's their presentation, yes.
Right, their presentations. Commissioner, when we took a look at it, they did provide a letter to the county. I spoke with Michelle at the county, Michelle Lieberman. They did not seem poised based on her conversation with me, and I'm probably being politically correct. They were not poised to fund them. And thought that maybe something might happen later in the year, but they were not poised at this point in time to provide any funding from their ARPA. I mentioned to her that the city was considering it, and it was looking into its ARPA revenue replacement, and it would be coming to the city, of course, City Commission on the 14th. So I know they did reach out. I don't think that the response is any different than what I just said. Our recommendation to support them, because they are really, really trying to move forward with the beginning of this school term. They still have some gaps, but our recommendation to the commission is for $350,000 one-time support to help them get off the ground for the beginning of the school year in August. And that is coming from the ARPA revenue replacement pot. And we have earmarked that for board consideration next week if the board so chooses to approve it. Not the 500, but the 350.
Now, do you know if the entire county board has had a chance to talk about this, or did it just stop at the manager's desk?
Well, what I'm told is that it went to the manager, and then as what's the gentleman's name, Cynthia? Lawrence, as James Lawrence apparently made his individual calls to commissioners and asked them if they had been made aware of it. There were certain ones that said no, they had not been made aware of it by the manager. And then he went ahead to make his one-on-one request to several of the commissioners. I don't know if he made his rounds with all of them, but I know he made his rounds with several of them. But I know they had a meeting last Tuesday. I don't think it was on the agenda. Nobody brought it up. So, but it didn't just stop at the manager, as you know, indicated earlier.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. That's not our business anyway, right now in here. I look forward to having this on the agenda. So.
Yeah. All right. And so the next item, Commissioner, is just an update on the ARPA. Cynthia, you want to put this on, slide up, just so I can bring the Commissioner up to speed of the charter offices and staff. So Commissioner, what we have here is an update on where we are with ARPA funding. Obviously on the unrestricted revenue replacement ARPA side, it outlines those projects that the commission's already agreed to fund out of the 10 million revenue replacement ARPA pot. You see them listed there. There's a remaining unrestricted balance of $6.4 million. On the core ARPA side, again, these allocations have been made by the commission, totaling 16.5 million. With a remaining core ARPA of 5.9. Right there at the solid black line area, total ARPA remaining is 6.4. On the revenue replacement side, 5.9, of course, on the core ARPA side for a total of 12.4. Recommended reallocation, Commissioner, in this listing right above it, Cynthia, go back up. You'll see eviction protection and assistance for $1 million there. That particular line, Commissioner, we have not spent any of that money. And it is because, as we stated earlier in some of our other reports, there are so many other pots of money that are existing. And so our pot is just not unused. We're suggesting that $1 million be used along with the affordable housing money that the board earmarked already. And that would make the 8 million total for the right here. Yeah, right there. That 8 million would be comprised of 6.919906. That would be the $1 million on top of the 5,919,000 there. So if we take that 1 million from the eviction assistance, add it to that 5.9, we would end up with the 6.919 for housing, and then we'd only have to take 80,094 from the core to make that total 8 million up.
Gotcha.
And so the remaining money, the recommendation from my office would be, we have our budget, which we have talked to you about. We have a balancing issue. And we are suggesting that we use the general government services set aside, which is ARPA revenue replacement, to address that, as opposed to dealing with a fund balance issue, which is questioned right now because of the ongoing audit. We don't want to deal with fund balance to balance our budget. So we're going to do the one-time ARPA revenue replacement to do that. And we are looking at Jenny for $500,000. We're looking at Gainesville For All, as previously mentioned, at $350,000. We're looking at $250,000, recommending to the commission for the central receiving facility. That facility, the county set aside $250,000 initially over a year or more ago. They just recently set aside another $250,000 for a total of $500,000. The city set aside $250,000 several years ago. They are asking the city to set aside an additional $250,000, which is what this amount represents. And so in addition to those amounts, there is a $490,000 state allocation that was approved during the last legislative session, that was approved and signed off on by the governor. But this $250,000 is being recommended to be spent from the revenue replacement, making the city's total contribution a $500,000 contribution. And this last $250,000 here represents an estimate of what it might cost for the consulting studies that are coming out of the RFPs for the Cultural Arts Center, Commissioner Desmond Walker's project, and the Sportsplex 8th and Waldo, which was put forth by Commissioner Chestnut. We're estimating $250,000. We're using this funding source for that. Those studies could be more, but we were just trying to get a head start on trying to fund whatever those consultant fees are. If we use these items as recommended, there will be no more funds in the ARPA pot. All the ARPA money would have been allocated. Doesn't mean that there will be projects that will not use money. And the money will roll back into the pot. I'm certain that's going to happen, but for now, all of the money will be allocated if this is approved as presented.
I would like to have it allocated. I feel better about doing that instead of having money sit there available. And as you say, there will be opportunities that open back up, but I would like to have it all on the table and accounted for.
Absolutely. And those are the items as far as I'm aware.
Okay, very good.
There is a 6 o'clock meeting on the 14th, separate and apart from this one, that will address the budget and the fire assessment fee, but
Right.
that's a separate meeting.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be a long couple of days there.
Yep.
Toward that end, I am, so if nobody has any more questions about that GPC budget, I have a question about the 13th.